Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show here on the new channel STV2. We're delighted if you're part of our existing group of fans from Glasgow and Edinburgh, but we welcome a new band of supporters from Aberdeen, Dundee and Ayr as well. We've got lots to talk about on tonight's programme. Brendan Rodgers is already looking to bring in new players for next season after Celtic booked their place in the Cup final. Derek McInnes is hoping Aberdeen can end their 27-year wait to get their hands on the Scottish Cup. Rangers are already plotting their revenge over their old rivals at Ibrox next week. Yeah, that's what we were discussing, and joining me tonight, Alan Ruff, Gordon Smith and Bobby Petta are all our Bootroom guests tonight to discuss mainly the Scottish Cup semi-finals, which seems to be the main focus of the attention of the back pages of the newspapers. The first one is the Daily Record, and We've Been Donned seems to be the main focus of attention there. This, of course, is in reference to Don Robertson, who pointed to the spot. James Tavernier certainly didn't think it was a penalty, but on social media, Lee Griffiths thought it was. The Daily Mail, again reference to the Cup semi-final win for Celtic and Pedro Caixinha's comments that they gave their opponents too much respect. And The Sun, again, a piece of Cax. This, of course, is Scott Brown, the Celtic captain, with a dig back at Pedro Caixinha's suggestion that Rangers have the best squad. So lots to get our teeth into, of course. We'll hear from the Aberdeen boss, Derek McInnes. We'll also hear from Ryan Christie and Neil Lennon, who was particularly scathing on Hibernian's performance in the Scottish Cup semi-final on the Saturday. So, Ruffy, to the game yesterday, I've never witnessed 45 minutes like it. The most one-sided semi-final between Celtic and Rangers in many a year.
Yeah, you're right. I think it took a lot of the Rangers supporters by surprise. I think they thought there would be more of an effort from their players. But as I said, these two guys here know what it's like to play in one of these games. And sometimes you've got to win your battles early on, but there was no battle to be won. Rangers just gave up possession to Celtic. I think after 15 minutes, it was about 80% possession. If you're going to give Celtic that kind of possession, they're going to hurt you. They're going to hurt you in dangerous areas, and that's what they did. You know, I couldn't understand the Rangers manager's team selection after actually sitting in the stand and watching his team do particularly well at Parkhead in the last game. I thought he might have taken something from that, but obviously he didn't.
Yeah, the strange thing that he mentioned in the after-match press conference, Gordon, actually caught me on the hop when he said he'd had a chat with his assistant, Helder Baptista, who said he felt as if the players were tense, so he decided not to do what he was going to do in his pre-match team talk. I mean, that was just outrageous. I mean, if they're tense, who cares? Yeah. You should be plugging them into the wall.
Absolutely. I mean, everyone's got a lot of adrenaline flowing when they're playing an old-firm game anyway. Every player is excited about it. Tense might be another way of putting it. But as I say, analysing the game closely, the players didn't play well for Rangers, but I felt like Ruffy did. He picked some of the wrong team. But also, I've been very supportive so far of what Pedro Caixinha's done. I think he's turned things around. He was looking good until yesterday, and what I have to say is he got it totally wrong. He's to blame for that defeat and the manner of the defeat. He picked totally the wrong team in terms of formation. A 4-4-2 he went with, 2 strikers up front, 4 in midfield. Now if you're playing 4 in midfield against a team who's got 5 in midfield, a better team in terms of quality of player, you're going to struggle. And that's what happened, because what happened was the one player who had all the freedom in the world. I mean, I saw in one of the newspapers today an after-match comment. He said he was trying to stop Scott Brown playing. Who was trying to stop Scott Brown? No one got near him the whole game. He ran the game because he was the spare player in the midfield. And from that point of view, Celtic were then getting the ball into their key players, whereas Rangers didn't. So I blame Caixinha for yesterday's performance and result.
Yeah, and with that in mind, he did mention in the after-match press conference that he was trying to nullify Brown and Armstrong. I thought maybe it's all about what your players can do in the game, Bobby.
Yeah, you would like to think so, but obviously what he set out there on the pitch didn't work. But he has plenty of time to get things right formation, right players in there, because the last time they played was brilliant. You got to give them credit. They brought the game to Celtic at Celtic Park. You expected this bit as well yesterday, but it wasn't. team selection and the tactics were completely wrong. It suited Celtic more than anything else. Scott Brown was just cruising. Never came out of third gear, second gear. It was easy.
Yeah.
Because he sit back. And if you're going to sit back and you want to hit him on a counter-attack, well, you got a long way to go. Go.
Yeah, but even you look at that, Bobby, the goal. I mean, a long ball from Celtic up to Dembele. He controls it, not under a lot of pressure, and then he's able to play it back into the path of McGregor, who's running.
There's no support.
Totally getting unmarked. No one was really even tracking him back, and so the gulf between the back and the Rangers midfield was too big as well. So that was another aspect of the actual structure and how Rangers were playing, that they were leaving a lot of space for Celtic to exploit, and that's exactly what they did with the first goal. It was a fine finish, I must say that.
Yeah, this is what the Celtic manager Brendan Rodgers had to make of it all.
We played absolutely brilliant in the game. Everything you would want from your team to play in terms of composure and temperament, technical quality. You know, we started the game very well. Good positioning. You know, I think we felt in the League Cup final here it was a similar idea. You know, we control the game early on and get a rhythm. And yeah, first half in particular, we were outstanding. Great goal. And yeah, the only disappointment was that we didn't score more. But today was about the collective. Today was really about the team. From the goalkeeper right the way through to the guys on the bench, it was. I really enjoyed watching the team. I thought we looked a real powerful, top quality side today. You know, with lots of elements of a game. Top team that can play with possession game, play with composure, can play through the thirds quickly, look a threat with our speed, and then press the game with a real good concentration.
I'm trying to think of any negatives that come out for Celtic in that, and the only one is the injury to Dembele, who might be in a fitness race for the final.
Yeah, I think they'll try and get him there. Obviously, he's got to be well. The way things are with the medical just now, it's feasible. You know, they have all the equipment at their disposal. But as he was talking there, although we're all criticising, you know, the Rangers manager, he got his team selection right. He got the big ones, Roberts against the young boy, inexperienced, who did particularly well. McGregor coming in instead of Roddick. And McGregor outshining Armstrong. You know, we'd all been talking about Armstrong. That was McGregor's best game. Obviously scoring the goal gave him a wee bit of a lift, but every selection he made proved right.
Yeah, and of course the Rangers manager reflected on that 2-0 defeat.
I think we respect too much the opponent, especially on the first half. And by respecting the opponent, we drop off too much on the park. It was not what we were preparing along the week. And we could not annul Scott Brown, so as Armstrong, which, according to my opinion, and according to my analysis from the game and the previous matches to prepare this one, were the guys that can create all the imbalances. So, regarding to that, and if you add the Hurley goal that you conceded, the team was difficult to find one way to have the ball, one way to have a counter-attack, and one way to set up like an invited pressing defending when, especially on the wide areas, we could not do it like that.
It's a big blow for Rangers. They had their Player of the Year awards last night. Kenny Miller picking up the Player of the Year. I think Kenny Miller has got a job in his hands as well to try and pick up some of the other players for next week, because they'll have to offer something totally different in front of their home fans.
Absolutely. I mean, Kenny Miller was probably one of the better players yesterday. I thought Tavernier did not too bad at times too. Gave away the penalty, obviously, but he was decent. But I thought that in the main they were poor. But as I say, it comes down to the fact that I remember once a player in a dressing room once said to the manager at half-time, he said, if you structure us correctly, we'll look better. We're struggling just now because of the team you put out. He said that in front of all the players and to the manager. I wouldn't name names, but the thing was, he was perfectly correct, and I agreed with it, because a manager is the guy that has to get it correct. Brendan Rodgers got it correct with his team, because that team has been successful. That system has been successful. He made one or two changes that, you know, he brought in Boyata, he brought in McGregor, and Roberts, and they worked. But in terms of the system, it was the same. Rangers changed their system, and to go 4-4-2, as I say, in a game like this, when you're struggling to get the ball to your front men, not good enough.
Okay, you can give us your thoughts on that at Peter and Ruffy and facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. Join us after the break. We'll be talking about this man, Lionel Messi. We thought we'd test your knowledge of him. Join us with the Football Show next. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show here on STV2. Alan Ruff, Gordon Smith and Bobby Petta with us to discuss all things Scottish football and beyond. Delighted to have your company in Aberdeen, Dundee and Ayr, joining our existing viewers in Glasgow and Edinburgh. The football chat continues. Scottish Cup semi-final on the Saturday with that noon kick-off was Aberdeen against Hibernian. Well, this one was everything that a manager doesn't want at the start of a game. Ruffy, I counted 12 seconds and the ball's in the back of the net for Aberdeen.
Yeah, if you get into a semi-final, it's something you don't want to do is lose a goal so early. It knocked Hibs right off their stride, but all credit to Aberdeen. They saw what the boy McGinn was trying to do. They closed them down very quickly, got possession, and then after that, Hibs just made errors all over the place. The big boy McGregor, who's really, really strong for Hibs, just made a mistake, and like all good strikers, got punished for it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I was impressed with was quite simply Neil Lennon's reaction to what was happening in front of him. After half an hour, they're 2-0 down, they look dead and buried. And he immediately made a change and hauled off Fraser Fyvie and threw on Grant Holt.
Yeah, I thought it was very good management, Peter, because they say they were getting outplayed and he decided to bring on Grant Holt and just change things about. A striker, he's 36 years of age, he's not at the peak of his career anymore, but he turned things around, not hardly on the field, and he's put the ball in the net to make it 2-1. That gets Hibs right back in the game. Then a lovely little touch to put McGeoch in for the second goal. So that was a very good substitution. And I think Neil Lennon must have been a bit angry how it started, but by that point he must have thought, OK, it's an even game now, we're back in it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can't take anything away from Aberdeen, Bobby, because at the end of the day, if the opposition make mistakes, the onus is on you to try and capitalise on them, and they did, and Ryan Christie exposed the goalkeeper and the Hibernian wall to make it 2-0.
I know, that's what Lennon said as well, it was kid stuff. I mean, you should cover that post. I mean, I'm not a goalkeeper, but you've got to say, Ruffy, you need to cover that one. Good free kick to bring it, to put it in that box and to score from there, but it's just, anyways, it shouldn't, but obviously these things happen. But for Aberdeen then to come get 2-2 and Aberdeen to snatch it, you know what I mean? A weird goal.
Yeah, it was
not
a weird goal.
Ugly goal there, but hey, they all count.
Well, I was going to say to you, Derek McInnes has sampled pain in semi-finals before, so you can't begrudge him a little bit of luck to get Aberdeen into it. But when you consider, Ruffy, they've been in the League Cup final, the form they've been in that takes them to second, I don't see Rangers catching them, and suddenly they've got a chance of not only winning the silverware, but the added bonus of stopping Celtic winning the treble.
Yeah, you have to give Derek a lot of credit. He obviously singled out the players for the tremendous effort they've put in, but also the supporters as well. And I think you have to take the supporters into consideration as well. They've been fantastic, turning up everywhere away from home in numbers, and I think the players have responded to that.
Yeah, it won't be often that you'll get Rangers fans supporting Aberdeen as well in a big game, and that's what's going to happen in the Scottish Cup final, because that's obviously the opportunity to stop Celtic winning the treble. So Rangers will want Aberdeen to win the Cup, but Aberdeen, from their point of view, it's just a matter of getting the Cup after so long, Peter, without having won it.
Yeah, I've written down the 5 Rangers fans who want Aberdeen to win the game. Gordon,
5 million.
It will be an absolute first. You might be right, but nevertheless, here's what the Aberdeen boss Derek McInnes made of it all.
After the last cup final, we had some making up to do, to be honest, and I think we've done it through our league form, of the form the players have been in. This is more or less a turn of the year, has been fantastic. But to reach a second cup final for an Aberdeen team who could hardly get to a cup final for many years, to get to a second cup final and put ourselves in a position to deal with the same situation again, I'm pleased, and I just hope, as I say, the players get the reward for everything they give.
Yep, congratulations to Derek McInnes and the Aberdeen team, but if you want the total opposite of that, this is how Neil Lennon summed up Hibs.
Pathetic. It's a semi-final.
Pitch is good. You know, we've been playing in quagmires all season. I want my players to go out and express themselves. All right, you get rocked by an early goal, but you gather yourself again because they've got plenty of character in there, but they didn't show it. And we had to make the change, you know. The second goal is schoolboy stuff. Schoolboy stuff. Some old habits started creeping in again. You know, players hiding, miscontrolling the ball, not being physical enough. And then, you know, we make the substitution and all of a sudden they come alive. Boyle, you know, McGain, Holt, you know, and Bartley and McGeoch drove the team on. But we looked, I don't know, poor at the back at times. Too poor for my liking. I don't know what was wrong with them today at times. Never felt comfortable. Not through anything Aberdeen did special, just we looked uncomfortable for some reason.
Well, he didn't mince about, didn't hold back.
No, and I think at one stage, when you go 2-0 behind the semi-final, he's got every right to criticise, but I think he's got to give his players a bit of credit as well for coming back, and making a right fist of it, getting level. And as the game went on, I think Hibs had obviously decided, well, let's go to extra time and let's see which way it's going to go. I think at that time, both teams were a bit equal, but I know he's disappointed, and quite rightly. He went there with a lot of confidence, and the only thing I would agree with was I think the big players in the Hibs team never really did themselves any justice.
Yeah, well, Aberdeen will be thinking about winning the Scottish Cup first time in 27 years. It's been a long wait for the Dons fans. They'll be making their way to Hampden in great numbers. Earlier on, I caught up with the Aberdeen fan Chris Scott to get his take on the match, the win over Hibs. Were they worthy winners? And what did he make of the way they played?
By virtue of scoring more than they did, yes, we were worthy winners. Made it difficult for ourselves. I think that goal so early, that really settled the nerves. And then to go 2-0 up, we thought, right, we've finally done it. We've finally broken our Hampden duck. I know we beat Morton earlier in the season, but Hibs posed a completely different threat. But then when it was at 2-2, I think you'll find most Aberdeen fans there and watching on TV would have thought that it was Hibs' game.
Yeah, just on that point, I mean, obviously there were some empty seats there. Do you think the 12 o'clock kick-off didn't do Aberdeen fans any favours? And I would presume you'll be looking for the full 50-50 split for the final when it comes around.
Yeah, I think the earlier kick-off time does turn a lot of people away. I think a cup semi-final should have a sense of occasion, and I think it's difficult to create that when you're leaving so early in the morning. Some people like to make a day of it. I just don't think it works particularly well. As for the final, I think Aberdeen fans, I think we're entitled to ask for a 50-50 split. We've seen that we can take the numbers down to Glasgow for a cup final. Before, there's going to be a lot of expectation and anticipation in this game because it's been our first, obviously, cup final, Scottish cup final for so long. I can see there being a high demand.
Yeah, and you now know, Chris, who your opponents are going to be. It's Celtic. Can you defeat them? Can you stop them winning the treble?
All the expectation is on them. So much pressure on them to do the treble. Potentially that could be them going their final game to see a domestic season undefeated. So we've got to hope for a very particular set of circumstances. I think that pressure has to get to Celtic. They have to have an off day, and we need to perform to the best of our abilities. But I mean, you know that the front four, if you like, for Aberdeen, of McLean, McGinn, Hayes and Rooney, if all four of them show up on the day, then we're capable of causing Celtic problems. There's no doubt about that, and I hope we learn from the League Cup final, and turn up and don't turn in a weak performance like we did then.
And last point, I think a word for your manager. Some achievement this season. I can't see Rangers catching Aberdeen in second place either, but a League Cup final appearance, Scottish Cup final, and possibly second in the league. Yeah,
I would expect them to wrap up second as well. with a Celtic team this good, 2 cup finals and second in the league. He's done a great job. Rangers maybe perhaps didn't pose as much of a threat as we might have thought, but they've still been thereabouts. But we still have a lead that I would think would be insurmountable at this stage. We've got winnable games. First of all, coming up on Saturday, I would expect 3 points there, and I think Rangers will just run out of games in terms of catching us. We've got enough in us to grind out games like we did on Saturday, and enough in us to win comfortably. So I think we'll have enough to have its second place.
Yeah, there's Chris Scott from Aberdeen, a Dons fan, very, very confident indeed that they can get that Scottish Cup final victory. You can tell us what you think at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter, facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. Coming up after the break, we might talk about the world's greatest player, Lionel Messi, and that fantastic El Clasico. I wonder if you can come up with the answer to the question yet. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's football show here on the new channel STV2. Alan Ruff, Gordon Smith and Bobby Petta are our boot room guests this evening on the Monday night, and Monday through till Friday, 7:30 till 8:30. We're delighted to have your company weeknights and on a Saturday at 2 o'clock. We'll keep you up to date with all the goals as they hit the back of the net, north and south of the border. We'll have interviews, no shortage of opinion, and you can interact with us too. Just looking at the 2 Scottish Cup semi-finals. Now it's Celtic Aberdeen in the final. But as we approach the last few games of the league for a number of clubs, they'll have to think now, if they're not in contention, they have to look at the contracts for the players, Ruffy. I mean, I noticed that Clint Hill says he'd love another year at Ibrox. Hibs have got no fewer than 17 players out of contract in the summer. And over and above that, you get dilemmas like Callum Patterson at Hearts. I think today was the first day that he was actually back running again after his injury. And then, of course, Celtic have got players that really weren't involved in the semi-final yesterday. Brendan Rodgers might have a decision to make in some French players.
Yeah, I think if you're a manager, you've got to look at the players that are out of contract. Sometimes it's a good thing for you, sometimes it isn't, because obviously the players are on lucrative contracts and you want to move them on. It's very difficult because they want to stay and obviously pick up the good wages. But certainly the way Neil was talking at the weekend there, I think he'll want to move on, maybe 5 or 6. He'll want to keep the good ones, obviously. He'll want to try and hold on to McGinn. McGregor's got a contract. He's a big player as well. I like the boy Bartley in the midfield. I think he's a good player as well. But no, I think Neil will, at this moment in time, will be using his contacts down south. They've obviously got the boy for St Johnson, Swanson, on a pre-contract. But I think the Hibs supporters will be pleasantly surprised at the kind of player that he'll bring in, because I think he will bring in 4 or 5.
Well, it'll be interesting to see who Neil Lennon opts for. But I was talking to somebody yesterday, out with Brendan Rodgers, who seems to have brought in a couple of players who've made a significant difference, and he seems to have revitalised Bobby some Celtic players that maybe others thought were heading out the door. I think pound for pound, the manager who seems to have spent the best in the league has to be Derek McInnes, because he's managed to get a side that have performed consistently. We mentioned the cup finals. They look odds on to finish second.
They do, and you got to give them credit for that. And you have to go down south to have a look at players that are available. There's a lot more players available down there, and you get the right ones to get them up here for a good deal, and they can do the job.
How difficult will it be for him to replace the likes of a Niall McGinn, and come up with somebody that can offer that international experience?
But that's football for you. I mean, as a manager, players come, players go, and it's up to you to kind of, any scouting team, to go and look, see which players are out there. It won't be easy, but there is somebody out there.
A lot of them now have the recruitment departments too, though. And people who are looking at statistics of players that are out there, they can find out in advance, Peter, who's out of contract. So that the one thing a lot of them will want to do, certainly in the Scottish game, with the finances that's available, is to get players in on Bosmans who basically aren't going to cost a fee. It's just down to wages. So you're looking at that level. You're looking, and as Bobby says, I think a lot of them are looking down south to see maybe championship players. But the big problem you've got there are the wages. Even championship players in England earn more than Premier League players in Scotland. So that is a major problem that Scottish teams have.
Yeah, there are a few players in the lower leagues that I think maybe some of the top flight clubs in Scotland will be having a look at as well. We're going to discuss the Championship in a minute. Just in case you were wondering what happened all over the weekend, we cover all 4 divisions in Scotland. Here's a look at some of the results. First of all, the Scottish Cup. There was the confirmation of the 2 semi-finals with Aberdeen up against Celtic in the final. Will it be the Dons winning, or will Celtic complete the treble? Give us your thoughts on that. The Championship, well, it's been a superb division, top and bottom. Dundee United with a last gasp winner didn't please Jack Ross, that's for certain, and Peter Houston's side continue to surprise everyone. They are going to be in the mix. We covered Morton Ayr as our live game. It ended a share of the points, and Dumbarton came up with a big win over Queen of the South as well. There's the table to look at, guys, and Ruffy, at the bottom end, it couldn't be any tighter.
No, you're right, and I think particularly St Mirren on the wee run that they were on, 2 each up at Dundee United, you would have thought, a point is a good result, and then obviously they get in the dressing room, they'd have seen Ayr United get a point, Dumbarton got 3 points, so it wasn't a great weekend for them, but they've got important games coming up.
It was a massive result for Dumbarton, that win, because that was a good win away from home, because they'd have been in 35 points and there'd been nothing, but so they got themselves into 4th bottom, albeit they're still right in the mix there. But there's interesting games coming up, as I said, Peter, because that both Ayr and St Mirren have got the same games. They both get Hibs and Raith to play, and the Raith's 2 games for 3rd bottom are actually St Mirren and Ayr. So there's nothing in it at all at the bottom. Yeah, well, this was Ayr United boss Ian McCall's view on a valuable point against Morton, and of course the aforementioned games that Gordon was talking about.
At this stage of the season, it doesn't matter who you play, they're all hard, and the pitches aren't the best, and you're looking for somebody to do something special and defend well and various things. But all we can do is try and win next week. We've beaten Hibs before, we can do it again, and it may set up something at Raith Rovers on the last day of the season that might be looking for us to finish 8th or 9th, who knows.
Yeah, that last day of the season, that's the nail biter. That's when fans go in and, you start to get the pictures of, small boys and girls crying at the end when they realise their team are heading through the trap door, Bobby.
I know, it's always special, I think, with British football, right? And there's a lot of drama, especially towards the end. And that's what football is all about, you know what I mean? There's a lot of emotions, smiley faces, and obviously some disappointed faces, but that's what makes football so interesting and so good. It's right till the end. Anything can happen. We just spoke about it.
Yeah.
Anything can happen. And this next, there's 2 games left, I think.
Yeah, 2 games.
So this one coming up is going to be very important, especially if you look at the features that are after that.
Yeah, I love that fact, Gordon. He says British football, it's full of emotions. I mean, when was the last time you cried, Bobby?
That's a different question. about football?
Yeah.
About football? That was a long time ago.
Okay, you ducked and down. Rafi, I know the last time you cried, you realised you couldn't get out of your 12-year contract at Thistle.
Yeah, no, I cry when I miss a putt. That's how emotional I get.
I've never known you to miss a putt.
Yeah, absolutely. Not in your, not the way you play. As far as the whole league is set up, though, I mean, the bottom end is cutthroat. The top end of it, have you seen any team there in the battle at the top for the playoff positions that you think could scupper the second bottom of the Premiership? I think
they're going to be tough games. Whoever's second bottom of the Premiership, Morton just have dipped recently. Morton's a team that are probably off form of the teams sitting up there in that top part. But I think Dundee United, Falkirk, Morton, there will be a hard game for whoever finishes second bottom in the Premiership. There's no doubt about that. So I think that, it's going to be exciting playoffs to come because, as I say, Dundee United got a great result at the weekend there, and, a lot of people will want to see them back in the top level, I think.
They deserve it, though. Yeah. Being at the club and being that mainly in the season, being up there, you deserve to just go up there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, is that your choice, Bobby?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dundee
Yeah.
United. Gordon, have you changed your mind? Are you going to go with Dundee United?
I think Falkirk have done very well. I think Morton have just slipped back a bit, so that their form's gone. I think it'll be Dundee United or Falkirk. I think but Dundee United, Falkirk have done really well. They got to play off last year, but this year I think Dundee United are the bigger club, and I think if you're looking at the top level, you want to have the bigger clubs in the top level, and then you maybe get the Dundee Derby. Although, to be fair, we might get the Dundee Derby in the playoff.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things that, I mean, just when you think you're getting all the top clubs back in, I believe in a meritocracy, Ruffy. I mean, if you're there and you're there in merit, fine. You know, if you're not in the top flight, tough. You have to earn it. You have to, you know, over the course of the season, play to the top of your ability. It would just be like it. The irony is if Falkirk pipped Dundee United with Peter Houston, a former Dundee United manager, and then the worst spectacle for some people would be Dundee against Dundee United in a playoff.
Yeah, it certainly would, but they'll obviously be thinking that the new manager getting in at Dundee will maybe give them a wee spark. There still is enough games, there's enough points to win, so I think that's a wee bit off yet, but that would be spectacular. No, from the neutral, you know, Dundee versus Dundee United.
Yeah, who are you going for now? Who's your choice and why?
To go up, I think Dundee United are just coming into a bit of form, scoring goals now. I think that there's confidence there, but as we all know, Falkirk have been champing the door for a while, and if they were to go up as well, I think they'd be a really good addition to our league.
But Dundee United?
Yes.
Okay then, got an opinion out of Ruffy there. He's sticking with the Tangerines. I'm not quite sure who they're putting to go down, but coming up after the break we'll give you the answer to our question. We're also going to look at the FA Cup semi-finals and an amazing game in the Bernabeu. It was Real Madrid against Barcelona, and a regular feature that Ruffy and myself have been going head to head on our fantasy football. £100 million to spend. We've picked what we think were, and what we thought were, 11 good players over the course of the weekend that would get us lots of points. I wonder who is going to come out on top. Will it be Ruffy or me? Here's the question. We'll give you the answer right after this break. No problems for Gordon Smith. Would you have got that, Ruffy?
Probably not the goals, but certainly I know he did well at club level. But he was a wonderful player, and Gordon got it spot on.
Yep, well done. Messi, of course, scored 500 goals for Barcelona. 2 of them in El Clasico, which was absolutely amazing. It was just the most unbelievable game I've witnessed, Bobby Petta. Again, I always watch these games between the two of them when you've got special players, a Zidane, a Ronaldinho, but Messi, you know, to finish it in the last minute, to win it 3-2.
Oh man, it was drama. It was drama, and it's what excited me in watching that Clasico. You know, they'll 2-1 up Barcelona, and then it comes back to 2-2. Great equalizer after going down 10 men for Real, but then the break from Sergio Roberto, and when Messi makes that run, when it gets got back, there's actually 5 other Barcelona players in there supporting it for the knockdowns, and it's just a great setup, great attack, great setup, and great finish from Messi. And especially when before that particular game in the studio, they were saying the lack of goals he scored in the last
6 games it was, and scored. Yeah.
And scored, and it's typical that he just comes. It's number 500, and it's brilliant. It deserved.
He's a dream to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, I must be honest with you. I watch Barcelona games to see Messi because he's a star. His touch, his control, the way he can turn people, go past people. He's burst a pace even when he's in possession of the ball. His ability to see a pass and his finishing, everything about him. It's just great to watch.
It is great to watch, yeah. That compared to Ronaldo is a different type of player. Great finisher, but it's a different kind of player.
Yeah.
I think Messi gets a little bit more involved and gets creative and goes and helps out. Yeah.
Is he still the greatest? Is he the greatest ever for you?
For me, Messi, I prefer Messi. Yeah, for me, he is.
Yeah, Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's up there for me. I think in terms of technical ability, yes, but I think there's a great case for Pele and Maradona. Oh. That's the 3 that come to mind. But at the moment, I'm loving Messi, and it might be the fact is that he's playing against a level of football where the game's faster, more technical, more drilled, more organised, that he has to get credit for that.
Ruffy?
I'm obviously swayed with the older generation with Pele, you know, to go into a World Cup final as early in his career as him and score as well says a lot for me. But you're right, the game's moved on now, and it'd be fantastic if we could come up with some idea that we could judge the two of them on equal grounds.
Yeah, I think they call that the PlayStation. As far as the other members of that 500 club and beyond, I wonder if you can tell me who's second. There's a shout for you. Take a guess at who's second.
Most goals for one team.
For one club, most goals.
Gerd Müller.
Honestly, he's on blistering form at the moment, isn't he? I mean, that's unbelievable.
Please tell me he's wrong.
He is. I know, Ruffy. I mean, I want him to be wrong, but no. Pele is 643. Gerd Müller 566 goals for obviously Bayern Munich, and then Perotio of Sporting scored 544. Jimmy McGrory of Celtic was 522. And another player that you might remember, 507 goals for Hamburg, Uwe Seeler.
Yeah.
And Messi's in at 500. So that gives you an indication of the calibre of player that we're talking about. Of course, over the weekend, let's not forget, on a Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock on STV2, you'll be able to join us and we'll keep you up to date with all the goals as they hit the back of the net. Gordon Smith will be with us, Alan Rupp and Hugh McDonald of the Daily Mail will be joining us, and we've got reporters out at matches to keep you up to date with what's happening in the key games as we reach a critical part of the season. Here's what happened in League One over the weekend as well. Of course, good away win there for Alloa and Jim Goodwin's side. And Peterhead against Stenhousemuir. It really made it interesting at the bottom. There's the table for League One. And at the bottom there, it couldn't be closer between Peterhead and Stenhousemuir. Just shows you how much I know, Ruffy. I tipped Peterhead to win that division, and they just collapsed all season.
Yeah, they have. Obviously, they've had successful seasons before. Sometimes you have a wee season when nothing works out for you, but I'm sure they'll regroup and be up there possibly next year if they don't get relegated.
Yep. Here's what a brilliant way to finish that line off, Ruffy. League Two, this is what happened over the weekend in League Two. And Clyde with a thumping from Forfar, and the reason why I mentioned Forfar is because Arbroath with that 2-1 away win at Cowdenbeath, you can see it doesn't get any tighter at the top, and if you want a little edge to it, Gordon Smith, it has to be Dick Campbell with a chance to pip his old team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's definitely between the two of them, but it's quite interesting because they weren't in great form. Forfar, that's getting a win was a big factor for them at the weekend, because otherwise it looked like Arbroath was going to jump ahead of them now. So it's a real battle for that championship, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. Ruffy, we're in a battle head-to-head. Every week we've been picking our fantasy football team. Last week you had thumped, I have to tell you, but this week you've bounced back big time. Here's my team selection. I thought I was going to be on top form with Arthur Boritz in goal and a few others. Barnsley and Pennington get no points for me, and eventually, I don't know why I picked Lukaku. People get points if you have good passes, tackles, penalty kicks. If you give away a penalty, you get points off. If you score goals, you get lots of points. I mean, it's just a fantastic head-to-head. That was my team selection. Yours, incidentally, I think I got 131 points. You got 147. You did well. And here's your take on the team. I mean,
Benteke was obviously the answer there, wasn't it? That was the one.
Yeah, that was the one.
He's probably got most points.
He's on form, but Hennessy's well in goals. I think he made some fantastic saves at the weekend, so lots of points there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's not dwell on it this week. We'll get back to normal service next week on the programme. Okay, as far as the other major talking point down south, of course, two things. The Cup semi-finals, and N'Golo Kante was actually announced as the Players' Player of the Year last night at an awards ceremony in London. Well deserving of it, Ruffy. Should there have been another player to pip him?
No, I think so. I think he's been fantastic. You know, not only a team player but individually as well. And I did realise how small he was. You know, he's fantastic to play in a midfielder. We see the English Premier players, they're giants, just about every one of them, and he's been absolutely superb and can score a fantastic goal as well.
That shows you that size and height is not everything, eh?
Yeah.
Football.
Yeah.
If you,
Well,
if
we've
you
just
know
been
it.
talking about Messi. And then we
It's everybody, especially yourself. And
Unless you're 5 foot,
everyone's been tall players.
yeah,
Yeah.
But it's what you can do with the ball. That's
Exactly.
not are you?
unless you're a
He can run,
5
he's a
foot 4
machine.
goalie.
5 foot goalie,
5 foot goal.
goalie.
Yeah, this is a
No, never
problem,
gonna
obviously.
happen.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Just on that point, Bobby, what height are you?
5'7",
5'7", 5'8", which is not too small.
Depends on the trainers I'm wearing.
Yeah, absolutely, or high heels,
Big studs.
depending on the party. As far as the young player, Dele Alli has just been superb. I think Tottenham might struggle to hold on to this young man.
Yeah, and it's a worry for us as well. You know, he's going to come with that England team on the 10th of June, and I think he's going to be a massive player for England, and he's a player that we'll have to stop.
Yeah, thanks for that. You've put me on a downer with that one. And incidentally, Scotland against England is on STV, something you can really look forward to. The old enemy, can Gordon Strachan pull off what would be an unbelievable result? As far as the Cup semi-finals, you know, England produced two great games. I thoroughly enjoyed both of them, Gordon, but Chelsea against Spurs was special.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought in both occasions I actually would have expected the other team to win. I thought Tottenham were going to win that game because they're more the form team. But it was a great game, and all credit to Chelsea. You know, they fought back. Although Tottenham had most of the possession, I think, and were putting them under pressure. But then same on Sunday there, I thought Man City would beat Arsenal, and didn't. So get all credit to Arsene Wenger. That's 3 finals in the last 4 years.
Yeah, absolutely. No planes flying overhead telling them to leave, Bobby.
No.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for confirming that for me. Who do you think is going to win it, Bobby Petta?
Who do I think are going to win it?
Chelsea or Arsenal?
I'm going to go for Chelsea. Yeah.
Gordon?
I think Chelsea too.
Chelsea for you as well, Ruffy. Oh, sticking to your guns there. And Arsene to leave at the end of the season?
No, a 10-year contract.
Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if that happens. Well, that's it for tonight's programme. I do hope you will join us on a regular basis, Monday to Friday. You'll get a full hour, 7:30 on STV2, right across the country. You can interact with us. You can come on as a fan. We will Skype call you, chat to you about your team. All you have to do is drop us a little note at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter and facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy if you want to put a question to our panel, or indeed just air your view on something that's annoying you or pleasing you about your club. Spare a thought for one happy man who's watching the programme. He put £3 on 3 teams to score in both halves, and he won £20,000 on it. I wish I was with him tonight in a pub. Good night.